Welcome to this week in the world of wrestling.
Welcome to TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John, that's my cohort and commentary, Ashton, and this is our NXT review. And oh my god, NXT once again proves that it is one of the most brilliant hours of pro wrestling programming on television today, or I guess in this case the WWE Network, with all the content they put out. I mean, Ashton, to steal a line from you, because it was just so succinct and so perfect, this was 1 week removed from their show of the year, and they are still living up to expectations.
I love NXT so much. This is like just the words that I could go to. I've already used. I've already used the old oasis in the desert thing. I can't think of anything to describe NXT that is eloquent enough to actually describe how good it is. That's how good it is.
Absolutely phenomenal. And with that said, let's just get right into our first segment, because I want to go deep into this show and discuss it with you. Heat of the night. And I'm going to start out by saying I have no heats tonight, and I have no nitpicks, but I have what I'm going to classify as a concern.
No.
I'm calling
it it's a nitpick, and I agree with you.
Fine, it's a nitpick, but either way, I'm very worried about it, and I only say it that way because I do have faith in NXT, and I want to make that explicitly clear, but
the only reason that I'm so adamant is because I don't want us to invent a magical third category for this freaking.
And I understand that, but I think it really should be qualified then that I do have faith in NXT, so I'm not so worried about it. But I do want to address it nonetheless.
Okay.
It seems like one of our worst fears is coming to pass. It seems like they are going to do this storyline with Enzo and Big Cass.
Oh, that's your. Oh, wow. Well, then I also have a nitpick of my own.
Yeah, and see, that's the thing. Like, I'm sure NXT will work it out, but I do not like that they're going down that road, and I'll only be okay with it if they go the route that you and I have discussed at length, and that's that their friendship wins out.
Yep.
But I am a little uncomfortable, dude. I'm a little worried.
I completely agree, and again, it's just one of those things where we just kind of, and you know what, to me, what makes it work is that we got the little tease tonight, but it is worth noting that while Enzo was trying to show off for Carmella, she wasn't even paying attention to him.
Yeah.
So she's still the heel here.
Absolutely. So hopefully the guys recognize that, and again, their friendship wins out. But I'm curious, because I thought you and I would have been on the same page on that one. What is your nitpick?
Becky Lynch's entrance is way too babyface still.
Yes, I remember I said something to you as well, so that is a point where you and I also completely agree. I think now that she's a heel, she needs to tone it down just a bit. I'm not asking her to become a stoic, but it is way too high energy for her current alignment and affiliation.
Yeah, I mean, dude, here's my thing. She's supposed to be a heel, but her entrance is almost the exact same that Edge's was when he was a babyface at the end of his run.
Yeah.
Like, she comes out, she waves her hair around, she holds up the rock sign, that's all stuff that Edge did during his entrances when he was a top babyface for the last couple of years of his run.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally get where you're coming from. And the funny thing is with Becky Lynch, like, it's all coming together for her, because she, I think, had a really great moment tonight, and she had a solid bout with Bayley, which we'll get to later. But I feel like she's so close to perfecting everything, but it's just those little things, man, that she needs to work out.
Oh, and don't get me wrong, I am super looking forward to talking about her match, because there's some stuff that went on in this match that I haven't seen happen in any match, regardless of company, WWE, ROH, I don't care, that was just next level psychological stuff that we have to talk about.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So kudos to Becky Lynch, but you still got those little things to work on. So, but I mean,
and to me, the entrance might not even be her necessarily as much as it's WWE.
Yeah. But really, when you put it together, this is gonna be one of the more mild nitpicks that both you and I collectively have had since we've done Heat of the Night and we've done these qualifications.
Well, that might be the case, but in the realm of NXT and relative to every other episode of NXT, we were actually pretty heavy-handed on it tonight.
Yeah, I would say so, yeah.
Yeah, and you know what, though? That's the thing, like, we have, as you would say, we have our concerns, but the rest of this show was so great. And at the end of the day, the concerns that we do have didn't ruin the show. They didn't even really put a damper on the show. It's just stuff that kind of, like, made us think, like, oh, well, that should be better.
Yeah, and, you know, like that's the thing. Like, you even say it that way. It's like, oh, could you just make it a little bit better? I almost feel like asking nicely because it's been so good to us. Like, I'm not like, oh man, this sucks. It's just like, no, if you could just improve that a little bit, that'd be great.
Yeah, exactly.
So with that said, I'm super excited for this. Let's get into our NXT review, and as we start the show hot out of the box with the introduction of the former NXT champion, Adrian Neville.
And Neville comes out, and to thank you, Neville chants, he comes out and gets on the mic. And before we even go on talking about this promo, I do want to point out that our commentary team for tonight was Rich Brennan, Jason Albert, and Corey Graves, who is really just quickly becoming my favorite commentator behind Steve Corino in the world of wrestling.
I know, like, I'm so happy for you that we go from all these commentators that you hate, and now slowly these commentators are coming out of the woodwork that you can really get behind.
And the best thing is, Rich Brennan is getting a lot better too.
He is. I really have to give him NXT.
He kind of has gone. Rich Brennan has kind of gone from guy who I get angry about seeing every week to guy that I can just kind of ignore because he never really does anything too terrible anymore.
Yeah.
Like he's gotten to the point now that he just kind of blends in.
He really has. I'm telling you, like, NXT is such a magical place because people.
Which realistically, that's exactly what commentators are supposed to do. They aren't supposed to be the attraction. They're supposed to sell you on the real attraction.
Yeah, they're supposed to supplement the attraction.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I've always felt the role of commentator is supposed to be. And yeah, I will say, it's so funny to me how people can come to NXT and be absolutely horrid, but yet within a couple weeks or months or however long, they do get better and they do find where they can, maximize what's good about them.
Yeah, and it's crazy because we had a 3-man booth consisting of somebody that's only been commentating for a week and Rich Brennan, and the weak point on this whole commentary team was friggin' Jason Albert.
And see, I even liked him tonight, especially in the main event, which we'll get to. So I really felt like these guys all complemented each other very well. This is actually one of the few 3-man teams that I could get behind if this is going to be a more consistent thing. So, yeah,
I think that the reason I felt like Albert was the weak point was because there were certain points throughout the show where I was just like, oh, shut up, Albert, you're talking too much. And his voice grates on me sometimes.
Well, now you know why I hate vaudevillians and Charlotte.
Charlotte.
Yeah, there it is. There it is.
Yeah. It's the combination of the like really, really like deep, raspy voice and the friggin' ridiculous accent.
Yeah. But, like, even commentary, I think, is getting more and more on point. So, yeah, as we were saying, Adrian Neville does come out to thank you, Neville chants in the crowd, and this crowd was brilliant as always tonight.
Oh, I love this crowd.
Best crowd ever. And, yeah.
I want NXT, even if they don't do a full-on tour, I just want them to go up and down the East Coast so that they can hit Philadelphia, so that they can hit Madison Square Garden, and maybe even go, inland a bit just so they can hit Chicago. Because I just want to see those crowds with NXT.
Oh my God, that would be the greatest merger in the history of anything. But yeah, I mean, really, not to water down Neville's efforts here, because I like the promo he cut, but it was pretty by the books, babyface. Commending Sami Zayn for his performance, saying he deserves to be NXT champion. He gave him the fight of his life, and he was proud of his personal efforts. It was the match of his career. Crowd even interjected at one point, said it was awesome. So definitely paying Neville the ultimate respect.
I loved that.
Yeah, that was amazing. But then Neville gets to the meat and potatoes of the whole thing. He said, you know what, I know that it should be Sami Zayn out here instead of me, and the reason that's not the case is because of one man who I know and was just utterly repulsed by his actions, more or less, and that is Kevin Owens, and he pretty much calls Kevin Owens out.
And he tells him, "Oh, I hope you're proud, or at least I hope there's somebody who's proud of you." It's like, wow, dude, you're going right for the jugular.
But the best part, though, is that Adrian Neville goes from, like, really disappointed and disheartened colleague, because, you know, it's been well established that they're peers. They've been up and down the road together, to almost lecturing parent, because then he goes, "Shame on you, man! Shame on you!"
And then the crowd even joined in. "Shame on you! Shame on you! Shame on you!" I love this crowd so much.
Shouldn't be putting your hand in the cookie jar, Owens. I don't know what you're doing, man. But then, dude, I gotta say, so much brilliance is coming out of NXT. First of all, Corey Graves is like a more heel commentator, which we'll get to, because I have some points I want to make about that. But Kevin Owens as a heel personality is just fantastic, because he tells Neville straight up, "Dude, I don't care. I don't care what you have to say. I don't even care that Sami Zayn's not here. In fact, what I do care about is that he's not here because I am. Because I'm here, that's the reason he's not here." And then we get to where the heel promo goes from, you know, good stuff, you're going to be a good heel, to, oh my God, we need more of this from everyone.
Yeah.
Is that he says, you know, I said that I'm here to go through everything and fight everyone. And I don't have a problem with you, but if you want to fight tonight, then, you know, so be it. Pretty much laying down the gauntlet to Adrian Neville. On
top of laying down the gauntlet, he did say that he came here for one reason, and that is to get to the absolute top. And to me, when somebody says absolute top, that doesn't just say NXT championship. That says that he wants to be the WWE champion.
Yeah, that to me says WWE champion. That says WrestleMania main event. Any milestone you can think of that is compatible with being at the top, Kevin Owens is aiming for. And to me, I just loved it, dude. I love that he was so straightforward. I love how aggressive he is in his pursuit. I love how just 1 week ago at the TakeOver Our Evolution special, he faced CJ Parker in his debut, and in his second match, he's already gunning for the former NXT World Champion. Yep. It's awesome, dude. Absolutely spectacular.
Absolutely. So, Owens, and I wish that I could say this more, but the heel challenged the face.
Isn't it wonderful?
It's really amazing, because I was even like, dude, it was so crazy, because I was typing it out, and I was typing Owens challenges Neville, and I was like, wait a minute, he's the heel, that doesn't seem right. And then I thought about it, and I was like, wait, yeah, he kind of did challenge him, didn't he? And then I finished typing it, and I was like, wow, that just felt great to type.
NXT almost scares me with how it makes me feel when it's on. Because I feel like I'm in some wonderland that I never want to be.
I know, right? It's like you get like friggin' Macho Man butterflies in your stomach or something. It's like it's wrestling paradise, man. It's ridiculous.
It's just like, you know, it's like a land where you stick your tongue out and you catch the snowflakes and they taste like sweet mellifluous chocolate. It's just you never want to leave.
I would say euphoric, but I don't necessarily want to go there with the Reddit references.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, dude, I'm really glad you and I had that out, because Kevin Owens to me is a mold that I wish more often than not was replicated. Love that he's going, as you said, you put it really brilliantly, going for the jugular, man. Awesome.
It's wrestling utopia.
Definitely.
That's the word I was trying to think of earlier. It's wrestling utopia, because like anytime I ever like get into like a serious economic discussion with somebody, it always comes out that, oh, I'm too much of a utopian. Well, NXT is wrestling utopia, and it exists, and it's here, and it's amazing, and it's actually a WWE product, which is the weirdest thing ever.
I still can't reconcile that. I think a lot of people can't either, because they think, oh, NXT is its own company or whatever, and it's an affiliate, it's an extension of WWE, and I know a lot of people have trouble reconciling that, and I totally get it, and it's surreal. So.
Absolutely. All right, well, after we get our little throwdown between Owens and Neville, we get a recap of the NXT TakeOver Our Evolution pre-show. See, folks, NXT is the only place where the pre-show actually matters. Where Bayley interrupts Sasha Banks and Becky Lynch attacks her from behind, and then we get a Devin Taylor interview with Becky Lynch, who cuts a promo that I didn't even know she had in her. This was so good.
And this is what I alluded to earlier when we were talking in our opening segment about her entrance being too high energy, but I'm feeling like the pieces are really coming together for her.
Yeah.
Because while she still may mess up in regards in that vein, here she was absolutely phenomenal. She pretty much said, well, what do you explain to? I had my eyes opened by Sasha Banks. I realized that smiling and pandering to the fans and caring about what they wanted doesn't get you anywhere. And she pretty much repeats, I had my eyes open to this, I had my eyes open to that, and I realized that the only person I can rely on, outside of myself, of course, and I love the self-awareness there, is Sasha Banks. And, she said, maybe Bayley's going to have her eyes open and she'll be looking into my brown eyes when I end her career permanently. Just really great stuff from Becky Lynch. I love this.
Yeah, I mean, the permanently thing, I was just like, damn, Becky, when did you get so angry?
I know, right? Like, all these
I remember
people.
when she debuted, she was this happy freaking river dancer, and now she's talking about ending careers. Jesus, that escalated quickly.
I think losing 3 straight matches to the NXT Women's Champion will dampen anybody's mood. So she's probably like, I'm tired of losing. I want to be a winner. And you know what, though? Like, what I love about NXT, because it's often a joke in WWE, right? Especially with your veterans that have really put their time in, like Big Show and Kane. Like, they'll just turn heel and face on a dime. But I love the groundwork that was laid for Becky Lynch's turn here. And I love how circular it all was, like you and I had discussed on a prior episode, with it all beginning again with the BFFs. And, yeah, she's a great heel. I'm enjoying her stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. She has a lot of upside because she's really good in the ring and she's shockingly effective on the mic. I just hope that they kind of get all the fine tuning done, including her entrance, because, man, there are people talking about, oh, well, we might get a Bayley versus Becky versus Sasha versus Charlotte fatal 4-way, and they're calling it a femme fatale 4-way. And I'm just like, maybe drop Becky out of that, just make it a 3-way, Sasha, Charlotte, and Bayley, and that would work. But if Becky Lynch keeps this up, I'm signing on.
I would sign on as well. I think you've just got to work out those mannerisms, and you will have a great heel diva.
You know what I realized, dude? And this is going to sound terrible. I think what it is that Becky Lynch is an exceptional wrestler. And when I say wrestler, that includes the in-ring and the promos, the wrestling promos. She's just not a good actor.
She isn't. And, I'm hoping that can be worded. I mean, she's in the right place if she was going to get better.
Yeah. But how terrible does that sound? Because this is like, they say, oh, it's sports entertainment, and I get that, but it is sports entertainment in the vein that sports entertainment is a euphemism that Vince likes to throw around for pro wrestling. Because it hits the ear better. When you say pro wrestling, people cringe. When you say sports entertainment, people are like, oh, what's that? But at the end of the day, Becky Lynch is good at everything that she would have needed to have been good at 25 years ago in the wrestling business, but she's just not good at the stuff that has kind of gotten added to the business since then.
Well, it's the stuff that makes you transcend, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
It makes you, because Becky Lynch...
It's everything that Sasha Banks is the best at.
Yeah, and see, that's the thing. And now you said you felt bad. Well, I'm going to feel even worse, so now you don't have to feel bad anymore, because to me, if Becky Lynch can't work this out, she's just always going to be that good hand in my eyes. Like that person...
And you know what, dude? There's nothing wrong with that. That's what Alicia Fox has been for the last, half decade.
That's what I feel like Christian's been for the last... Well, at least when he's active. I don't even know really what Christian's doing now.
I'm talking strictly females, though. Like, Alicia Fox has been around since, 2007, 8, 9, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
She's only ever really had 1 or 2 real pushes, and she's in matches every single week. She's making her money, and all I can say is if that is Becky Lynch's ceiling, she should be proud of herself, because that's a great role to be in.
Absolutely. No shame for Becky. I'm very praiseworthy of her tonight, and the praise will continue because, if I'm not mistaken, after this we do get our matchup, correct?
Yes, we do. Becky Lynch versus Bayley.
This was so good, dude. I don't want to rant and rave over it like NXT Evolution Sasha versus Charlotte, because that was just stupendous, but... And I'm going to hand it over to you here because you're the expert, and I'm interested to see the notes you've taken. But the psychology that they had in this match of Becky Lynch targeting Bayley's knee was just so on point.
And
So
it wasn't your typical, like, spending the entire match just wrenching the knee and doing that thing where she rests her foot on the bottom rope and then jumps on it and slams her butt down on the knee, and then she, like, twists her knee around and just constantly going at the knee. Bayley was on offense for 95% of this match, but that other 5% were just little hooks and jabs and twists that Becky Lynch was getting in on Bayley's knee until the final seconds of the match when she locked in a submission.
And I will say, too, I loved Bayley's approach to this match. She did seem a bit more aggressive, a bit more, I gotta get this win, I gotta get it back. I've been very critical of Bayley lately, but the good news seems to be that the audience apparently hasn't been, because they were firmly in her corner for this. So she's still got that fanfare, which I think is wonderful. And then, to bring it all full circle to what you were alluding to just a few seconds ago, Becky Lynch does get the win via submission. Again. I'm sorry. I can't stop grinning like an idiot that the women have reclaimed submission wrestling, more or less. It's just...
Specifically NXT women.
NXT women, yes. It's just phenomenal, dude. Absolutely wonderful. And really, what do you even call it, like, what she was doing? Because I was trying to think of the name of it, because I think I've seen that somewhere before, but it wasn't coming to me. But whatever it was enough to get Bayley to tap out. So. Yeah,
I mean, it was... I don't even know how I would describe it, but it almost looked like a modified Fuller leg lock. It looked almost like Corey Graves' old finisher, the Lucky 13.
Yeah, and you know what? That's what it kind of struck me as. I'm like, whoa.
I mean, I know it wasn't, because she wasn't yanking on the foot to kind of put more pressure on it, but it looked like a kind of a version of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? I love that they gave Becky a submission win, because I think it just goes back again to what you were saying. Bayley was on offense 90%, but 90-95%, but that small percentage that Becky was on offense, it was enough, and she capitalizes on it, puts the exclamation point on it with a submission rather than rolling her up or catching her in a package when maybe the leg was hurting. It's a definitive win here, and I just think that's wonderful. And one more thing I do want to say, and I don't know how you feel about this, I'm sure there are going to be fans that may be a bit concerned or take up issue with the fact that Bayley's lost again, and just, maybe this is just another step backwards for her momentum. But to me, I almost feel like they're trying to position Bayley as almost the Sami Zayn of the NXT women's division. She'll fight back up. I'm confident. You know, and really realizing tonight that she hasn't lost her fanfare, I actually appreciate that she's struggling against Sasha and Becky, because I think they need it right now more than she does.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
As of right now, and obviously I'm pretty well convinced that they're going to change this before the next live special, but as of right now, if I had to make a women's match for the next live special, it would just be Becky Lynch versus Sasha versus Charlotte, because Bayley looks like the weakest of that four.
Yeah. And I don't know if maybe they'll give her a surprise, like, non-title win over Charlotte or Sasha, but I really don't think it would take much to get Bayley back into contendership. And yeah, after this submission victory from Becky, I would like...
And I think that's a thing, because because Becky, to me, was the weakest going into this match, and now Becky has a clean submission victory over Bayley. Bayley is not looking strong right now at all.
She's not. But again, I'm okay with it. Maybe more than I even should be. But again, I think that's because really hearing the fans tonight, they were solidly behind Bayley. And I think with Becky Lynch really still coming into her own with this heel thing, she needed it more than Bayley did. So I really do believe the right person went over. And again, I'm happy that it was as definitive as it was. But yeah, I would love that. I would love a femme fatale four-way. I think that I love the name of it too. It would be fantastic. And get Becky Lynch in there. Because here's the thing too, I didn't even want this incarnation of the BFFs to last too long. So if we get some early dissension between Sasha and Becky because of the NXT Women's Championship and them both being viable contenders, that could make for some compelling programming.
Okay, now, before we move on, I just want to say, Becky Lynch did some next level psychology in this match. I don't know if you caught it, But the first time Bayley pinned her, she kicked out right at 1.
Wow. Yeah, I think I did catch that. That was nice.
And each successive pinfall attempt that Bayley went for, Becky took a little longer to kick out. The first time, kicked out at 1, right after the referee's hand came down for the 1. Second time, ref's hand came down for the 1, and then he raised his hand for the 2, and then she kicked out. Third time, he hit 2, and right as his hand hit the ground for the 2, she kicked out. And those were the only 3 pinning attempts. But, like, to me, that's so good. That's so next level. Nobody ever does anything like that, because it's like you can literally tell that she's wearing down slowly as the match progresses, because she's taking longer and longer each time to kick out.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? I think you observing that, I think should put the people that may be a bit concerned about Bayley to rest, because it shows that Bayley, had she kept on the offensive, probably would have beaten Becky Lynch, but she got caught. And, you know, it happened. So, really great women's match. Yet again, God, I love NXT.
It's just amazing. Okay, now, after this match, we got John's favorite segment of the night. The Vaudevillains backstage with William Regal in his office.
Yes.
And before you talk about it, can I just say, I love that the mere presence of the Vaudevillains causes the camera filter to change to an old-timey, grainy, black and white film.
I wonder how many times I can say that I just freaking love NXT before it gets old.
It will only get old when it stops being true.
Exactly. Beautifully said. Because I agree with you. It's those little things. And that's why I've told people, like, if you love that character-driven wrestling, or you came from an era where it was so bright and vibrant and colorful, like the Macho Mans and the Hulk Hogans and this and that, to me, I feel like NXT calls out to you, too, because I love those little touches that they give the Vaudevillains. Like you said with the camera work, just go into black and white. And they go to William Regal, and they point out a gross oversight with their NXT R-Evolution Tag Team Championship match, and they show, and I thought I felt something weird when we were watching on the live reactions, and apparently they are going with it. Simon Gotch, when he was pinned by Kalisto, was not the legal man. Aiden English was.
And I love the way Regal sold this, too, because they were showing it to him on a freaking iPad, and I love that the Vaudevillains, these guys who are basically supposed to be from, like, the early 1900s, have a freaking iPad.
It's just so wonderful. These guys just consistently continue to maintain their spot as my favorite tag team in NXT. I just love what they're about.
In
and
all of the WWE, even.
You know what? Yeah, I'd say in all of the WWE, because, I mean, what do we got on the main roster? I mean, I love Mizdow, but that's one man. That's not a team. I love both Aiden English and Simon Gotch together.
Yeah.
And they just work so brilliantly. And what were you saying?
All I was going to say was I was going to go back because I was talking about how the way Regal sold it, because they were showing him on the iPad, and they were like, watch this. And they showed him, and he gets this smile on his face, and he's like, you could tell that the light bulb went on in his head, and he just says, not the legal man. And you freaked out, dude!
I did, because, you know what, I gotta be honest, I think what concerned me after our evolution, and will concern me again down the road, make no mistake about it, is where do the Vaudevillains go from here? Because I'm gonna level with you, and I know it's heavily biased, and I never try and deny when I have bias, but I don't want these guys to break up. I want them to come up to the main roster together. I love this act. I don't want it to dissipate when it's time for them to get called up.
John.
What?
I'm going to be that guy right now.
Oh, Jesus.
Vaudevillain's gimmick is amazing where it is. But this is not a gimmick that is ever going to get over on the main roster. Ever.
Dude, you can't say that until we see it play out. Just like I can't say it'll be a success until we see it play out. You can't go one way or the other. Maybe it would resonate.
Dude,
I don't know.
Seriously, imagine these guys showing up on Raw and JBL's commentary happening while they're entering.
It's brutal. What I'm imagining is brutal. But at the same time, remember Aiden English on his own? I don't think he'd get over on his own on the main roster. Simon Gotch is a bit of a mixed bag for me because I'm honestly not sure. I actually think he has a bigger chance, to be honest with you, than English does. But that remains to be seen. Whatever these guys do, you know, I would prefer for them to stay together, and I'm not backing down from that. But I will say this, in the present moment, I'm elated that they are still number one contenders, and this is still what they're doing, because I love them together. And I was getting ready to say, I loved how Regal handled this whole thing, you know, not just what you said with the light bulb going off, but the vaudevillains are really eager, and they say, oh, we're going to get our matchup tonight. No, the show's booked. Oh, frats. He's like, but
I love that, dude. Because that goes back to Regal maintaining his status as a heel.
Yeah, definitely.
It's gotten to the point that he's been in the wrestling business for so long and he's been a heel for so long that anytime somebody asks for something tonight, he doesn't even have to think about it. His natural reflex is to say no.
No, and I love it. I love it. And he says, but we will work it out, and we are going to sort out this controversy, and that referee will be talked to, even though I think he should be flat out terminated. But that's just me. And then the
of course you do.
and then the vaudevillains say, yes, we can still get rid of those pesky Lucha Dragons. And then Regal joins in on the laugh, which just makes it go from a 9 to a 10.
Yeah, it's like that one Austin Powers movie where freaking Scotty tries to join in and it just doesn't work, except way better.
Exactly, because, I mean, the vaudevillains didn't even seem to mind. And then when they walk off, though, Regal insults them. I forget how he insults them.
William Regal is the third vaudevillain.
He's the original vaudevillain.
He is, yes.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I just wanted to make babies with this segment. I loved it. You know, I'm not going to make any bones about it. And I'm assuming...
No, I think you would happily make bones about it.
Yeah.
If you know what I'm saying.
Oh, you rascal. But more importantly, I'm assuming... Oh my god, this is getting so next level right now. I'm assuming this tag title matchup will probably take place either next week or within 2 weeks. Lucha Dragons
I'm thinking 2 weeks for sure.
Lucha Dragons will definitely retain. I mean, I don't have my head that far in the clouds, but... You know, I am excited that we're doing this again for a third time, and you know, definitely the final time, I would assume. So let's make it a barn burner. I can't wait.
Absolutely. All right. Well, up next we had a couple of matches right after another. We had Bull Dempsey get a squash match over a jobber, and then he's leaving the ring and walking up the ramp, and Baron Corbin's music plays, and he does his entrance, and he walks past Dempsey. Dempsey doesn't move. Corbin has his match. It lasts 14 seconds, which the crowd counts because they know now not to count for Dempsey because he likes to take his time, whereas Baron Corbin does not get paid by the hour, as commentary says all the time. But yeah, Corbin gets his finisher, wins in 14 seconds, and then as he's leaving, Bull Dempsey kind of gets in his face a little bit, and then he shoves him and just runs away like a pussy.
But what I loved about this, and I don't know if you'll agree with me or not.
Commentary?
Commentary was great, yes. But what I was going to say in regards to these two, I love how it's slowly escalating, because all they've done up to this point is just stare each other down, watch each other, you know, that kind of thing. Tonight, all we got was a simple shove, and I love that because I didn't want them to jump the gun and exchange hands or anything like this. It was just a shove, and I love how they're taking their time with this. I love how it's just that slow build. And now next week, if we do this again, or within 2 weeks, because we know that roster rotation is in effect, and people are going to say, well, it was a shove 2 weeks ago, what are they going to do tonight? Is it finally going to blow up? And then when it's just going to make people want it. And when they finally do have that full-on collision, people are going to be happy, you know, that they waited for it, because it'll be special and have that atmosphere about it, if you will. Loved how they handled this.
Can I ask you a question, John?
Sure.
When was the last time that you spent all day Monday excited for Raw?
Oh, God, dude. I don't even know. Because I'm always excited to do Raw TWitWoW, but as far as Raw by itself, I couldn't even tell you. It's pretty bad.
Maybe back in, June?
Maybe, because, yeah, that's summertime, and I love summertime. So, yeah,
to me, I go back to the week after Rollins turned his back on the Shield.
Right.
I think that was either late May or really early June. And that, I feel like, is the last time really either one of us was really, really looking forward to Raw all day Monday, couldn't wait. I feel that way about NXT every single Thursday.
Every single week. I know, dude. I know what the funny thing is, and again, like, you could look at how a card may be structured on paper, be like, oh, Baron Corbin versus local competitor, oh, Bold MC versus local competitor, they're giving 2 matches to local competitors, but when you think about the story that encompassed both of these things, they still make it so good. And you know what? You know what I love too, and I gotta be honest, Ashton, I did have one little nagging concern going away from NXT R Evolution, and that was after Baron Corbin, when it took him like 30 seconds or I think it was 41 seconds to defeat Ty Dillinger.
I'm telling you, it's just because Ty Dillinger's on another level than all these other jobbers, man.
And that's true. That's certainly true, and that's not what I'm trying to contend, but I thought because it took so long, maybe the fans are just going to abandon the clock altogether because, we didn't keep up his role, the chain broke. I'm still so glad they're doing it.
So you thought that Ty Dillinger would be the combo breaker.
Yeah, more or less. And I'm so glad the counter is still continuing. And 14 seconds, just damn. If I had one thing that I wish we could change, but I love Baron Corbin's finisher, so I can't even say that. I was just thinking something that would be even quicker, so he could really shave the time off. But he just looks so dominant that I don't even care.
Well, I mean, his finisher only takes about 2 seconds to execute. So even if we would do like the quickest, fastest, most flashy, out of nowhere finisher ever, it was like a super kick or an RKO, and that 2 seconds turned into a half second, it really wouldn't make that much of a difference.
Right, and it's just so dominant, man. He's got such a great look. I think the sky's the limit for Baron Corbin. I can't wait to see what happens with him next.
Yeah. I just love the direction they're going with this. And I really do kind of wonder, are they going to go straight into a match with each other eventually, obviously? Is that going to be kind of like their first actual kind of interaction? Or are they going to end up teaming up?
Right.
That's my question. But regardless, up next we had our, I believe, technically fourth, because we just had 2 squash matches in a row, so that would be 2. 4th match of the night, Enzo and Big Cass versus, and when I found out that this is who it was, I kind of freaked out a little bit. The Ascension.
I guess what we could really talk about, because I don't think we'll have to spend much time on the match itself, but Enzo and Big Cass do come out. They cut another great promo, and then they do a variation of the 12 days of Christmas, but it's on the 7th day of Christmas, and I wish I could remember all the things that Big Cass listed. But this will just be something where I'll say, if you haven't seen it, go watch it, because it was hilariously done. And these guys...
He started at 7. That's all I remember.
Yeah, that's it.
And what he should have said when he said 5 golden... What was it? Did he actually say 5 golden rings, or was it something different?
It was 5 golden rings, yeah.
Well, he should have said 5 brass rings, because that's what they grabbed tonight.
Oh, yeah, man. Definitely.
Keeping it topical. Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. I love that idea, actually. I wish they would have done it. But, they call it the Ascension, and they proved to still be one of the most charismatic teams pretty much in all of the WWE. I love these guys. Oh, my God, the places they're going to go together. Ascension then comes out. Like I said, not really too much to dwell on here. I mean, Big Cass got some impressive offense in the early going towards Victor, which, by the way, I don't feel like I've remarked on it enough these past couple of months, but I love how Rick Victor operates in the ring. Just so good. Like, there was one point he got Big Cass in the corner.
He is a ring general.
He is. He got Big Cass in the corner at one point and did these uppercuts and these chops, and I just loved it, man. I love how this guy works. He seemed like he was going to put Victor away, and maybe Big Cass and Enzo would have pulled off the upset, but Enzo steals the tag, and he rushes over and tries to hit Connor, and Connor no-sells it.
I loved this, dude. Because Enzo did what any good babyface getting a hot tag would do. He ran over, tries to take out the other guy so that he can't get a tag, and then goes back in and gets some hot offense on the guy that's in the ring. It makes perfect sense, but he forgot that he's Enzo Amore.
Yeah, pretty much. I feel like that should be on a t-shirt somewhere. But more importantly, I think, Ashton, that was the only thing that kind of assuaged the concern that I addressed in our opening segment. The fact that this will be the story they go with. Oh, Enzo's trying to impress Carmella, and that infatuation is going to come between the overall team and all that good stuff. Is the comedic effect of it all, because he is Enzo Amore. He is this scrappy guy that's just always going to be beaten back down in the most hilarious way possible, but not so much so that we're laughing at him. I mean, we're always supporting him. And it's great stuff. And then I love Big Cass because he just like turn around, and he does, and he eats the STO. And yeah, the Ascension win after that, which shows also that Enzo really, I guess, can't eat that much offense either. So the Ascension get the win, but they're not done there. Victor grabs the mic, and they pretty much tell Finn and Hideo that, hey, you know, we've been here 2 years, we're at the top of NXT in what we do, and we're just going to chalk up what happened last week at our Evolution to beginner's luck.
I love it. I love that they kept it simple. They're not trying to come up with, you know, all these ridiculous excuses like, oh, I got distracted, or we didn't prepare well enough, and that kind of stuff. No, they just straight up said, no, it was beginner's luck, and you won't be able to do it again even if you try.
Yeah, more or less. I loved it. It was short, sweet, and to the point.
Dude, I think Rick Victor is another Becky Lynch case where he's good at everything that was required that you were required to be good at in wrestling 25 years ago. Like, he has just absolute control in the ring. He is a ring general in every sense of the word. And he has one of the best voices in the WWE to come along in a long time. And he knows how to cut his, like, succinct, like, I'm going to say what needs to be said and then get past it promos. And he doesn't dwell. But there's just, like, a certain, something about him that's just kind of like, there's something boring about him. And I hate to use that word because he's so good. But it's like he's too stoic, I think.
Yeah, I could see that. I think that is something, and it's weird because the vignettes that we've been getting for the Ascension,
yeah,
they are going to be moving up. They seem like they're trying to be more animated, but I kind of fear on that end too that they may be a little too animated.
No, because dude, here's the thing. You know how Jake Roberts always says, well, if everyone else is yelling and screaming, I'm just going to talk nice and quietly and force everyone to listen to me. Well, nobody's yelling and screaming anymore. So this is the perfect time for a team to come along and do it.
That is true. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I'm just looking forward to see what they do. Connor did his usual shtick, and
honestly, the people that are doing the most yelling and screaming in the company are the freaking commentators, and I hate them for it.
I know. Oh, right in the ear too.
Dude, but, JBL is the worst at it too. Come on, Michael, shut up.
We have to move on to the next segment, or I'm not gonna live.
Well, the next segment's the main event.
Oh God, and I'm still not gonna live because this was bloody brilliant. Oh my God.
You're British now.
It made me British, man.
I'm bloody brilliant, man.
I'm gonna sit in the back with William Regal and just sip tea while I'm watching NXT. It just sounds like, just to use your word, utter utopia at that point, because these guys went out there and they killed it. Kevin, okay, this is where I wanted to praise Corey Graves.
Trash talk?
Well, not the trash talk, yes, but you know what? I'm going to leave that to you since you brought it up. What I wanted to kind of handle, if you didn't mind, I love, and you just mentioned JBL, which is hilarious, because he needs to take a freaking note. Corey Graves really went to bat for Kevin Owens here in this match. He had a great line, because Kevin Owens would keep leaving the ring in the early minutes of the matchup. Every time Neville would seem to get on offense or really seem like he was going to impose his will, Kevin Owens got out of there.
And this was when I started to really, like, this is when I went from, oh, this commentary team's great, to, okay, Jason Albert can shut up now.
Yeah, and you know what? This is where I went from, oh, it's so wonderful that, you know, they still found something for Corey Graves to do, and he seems really impassioned and fun, to, no, you should have been doing this the whole time, even though I do love you as a performer, because you, sir, are a godsend to the announce table.
Yeah.
Because he says, hey, and this was such a perfect soundbite. He says just because he says he'll fight, he'll go through everything and fight everyone, doesn't mean he doesn't have terms. Love it so much. Oh my God, why don't we have more heel commentators doing things like this?
Somebody needs to introduce Floyd Mayweather to Corey Graves, and he should be his publicist, because Floyd Mayweather has been dodging Manny Pacquiao for years now, and all he needs is for Corey Graves to come out and be like, just because he says he'll fight anybody and he's not afraid of anybody doesn't mean he doesn't have terms. Come on now.
Exactly. It's such a brilliant and really eloquent justification. I loved it. And then I'm gonna leave it to you, brother, to kind of pick apart the match, because you mentioned first, like, the Trash Dog and Kevin Owens just really thrived in this match here.
Yeah, this Kevin Owens is what a heel needs to be.
Oh, straight up, dude.
And the great thing is, as amazing of a heel as he is, he's not so good of a heel that he goes to the extent of just, like, making it impossible to enjoy his work. Because that's like what Randy Orton was doing in late 2009. Like, he was so much of a heel that he slowed everything down in the ring, and he developed the nickname Randy Borton because he was doing rest holds all frickin' match, and that's kind of like the slow, methodic heel style, and that's, to me, a mistake. But Kevin Owens does everything perfectly as a heel, but he does not compromise his in-ring for the sake of being a heel.
No, he doesn't. And it's absolutely wonderful. He was vicious. Picked apart Adrian Neville. The Trash Talk all the while. My favorite line through it all, I don't know if you had a favorite, but mine was...
It's probably the same one as yours.
You were NXT champion for almost a year. You're a joke.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one, yep.
So good. He did this gutbuster that just looked like it drove all the air out of Adrian Neville. Just fantastic. And
at one point, I think it was during a commercial, but at one point he said, "Nothing I do makes me shameful. Nothing."
Oh my God. That's why I loved, like, after NXT TakeOver Our Evolution, and he had the tag Sami Zayn and everything, he tweeted a little while after that, "Well, I feel pretty great." Like, yeah. I love it. This guy is just so unapologetic about who he is and what he's about.
He's awesome.
And yeah, it's like, there was not a moment in this match, dude, where I thought that Kevin Owens was a coward. I always thought that he was calculating and strategic, and the idea that that was supplemented by Corey Graves' commentary. And here's the thing. That's why I didn't have a problem with Jason Albert, because at the same time it was debated by Jason Albert. So I think, we're not having two people parodying the same thing, and then the heel commentator, in this case it would be JBL, instead of going after the arguments, he just picks apart the people. It's just, "Oh, Mako, you're a conspiracy there." No. Use your head. JBL should be so good at this because he's been in this business for years, and Corey Graves, who I feel like probably doesn't even have a rap sheet as long as JBL's, is making him look like a joke. Because he's talking about what the business is about and what you have to do to win. It's amazing.
Do not forget, JBL's been in this business for a heck of a lot longer than you might think, because he was freaking Justin Hawk Bradshaw and all kinds of stuff before the APA even happened.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, dude. Like, he has all this time in the industry, so he should be phenomenal at this and understand it. And I feel like Corey Graves is running laps around him. I really do. It's unbelievable.
I'm looking right now, and Bradshaw's debut was in 1992, so 22 years of experience, versus Corey Graves, who debuted in 2000. So Corey Graves has 14, JBL has 22. Quite a difference.
Yeah, quite a difference indeed. And you want to talk about running laps, this NXT main event just ran laps out of everything else we've seen this week, at least from WWE, because another 6 spot in this match, if these guys are going to get crazy enough. First of all, I love that. First of all, yes, that DDT, and I just want to lose my mind over it. But it also has to be said, the emotion of Adrian Neville on offense, because he starts the comeback, and he's feeling it, and he's getting so aggressive, and oh my God, just everything. And then that DDT cell, and then the glazed over look on his face, like he didn't even know where he was after impact.
Nope.
Oh my God. And I'm going to hand the ball back to you here, because I know you were a big fan of it, and so was I, because I didn't know how they were going to pull this off, how they ended the match. Because I felt like it was the perfect way to protect both guys.
Yeah, it was amazing, because... Now, you said earlier that there was not one point in this match that... What was it that you said? There was not one point in this match...
There was not one point in this match that I thought Kevin Owens was guilty of cowardice or being...
And to me, there was not one point in this match that Kevin Owens looked like he might have been losing.
Yeah.
Even when Adrian Neville got the upper hand, and I use upper hand with hard quotes, it still felt like he was getting the upper hand on Kevin Owens' time. Like he was letting him do that.
Yeah. Definitely.
That's just crazy to me. Like, these guys were so good that they made it seem like the year-plus reigning, undefeated NXT champion couldn't lace lace Owens' boots.
And I love it, because let's all keep in mind here, folks, that it's only Kevin Owens' second outing. And it's so perfect because he's a heel, because any other heel, we've seen them, they come up, they go through the card, the jobbers and everyone else. Because of Kevin Owens' actions, it hotshots him in this place, but it's justifiable because it fits the story. I love it. And these guys, they're fighting on the outside. Neville is trying to get Kevin Owens back in the ring after, I believe, a dive over the rope.
Yeah, and then Kevin Owens just says, well, screw this, and he grabs him and he just pulls him into the freaking steel post.
Yeah, and then I think Kevin Owens wanted to beat the count, but of course he couldn't, so it's a double count out, which I'll be honest, when I saw that this match was taking place, I was excited as hell for sure, but I'm like, oh man, they put themselves in a corner here. How are they going to get out? But silly me. It's NXT. They always have an answer. And it was the perfect answer. It really was. And I love when Owens, he's just seething. You could see it all over his face. And then he grabs Neville.
There was a powerbomb chant.
Yeah, there was a powerbomb chant because the fans were not happy that we got this draw, more or less, this double count out. And a powerbomb chant starts going, and Kevin Owens is more than happy to oblige. He powerbombs Adrian Neville on the hardest part of the ring apron, and then as he's going up the ramp, he screams, who's fight now? And I love it. The aggression, the anger, everything. When Sami Zayn returns, dude, this is going to be some next level stuff. Oh my God.
Cannot wait for next week already.
I can't. Just between Lucha Underground and this, and
Lucha Underground's not going to be happening next week.
I know, and thank goodness for NXT, because it feels so good to know when one superb wrestling program is on a hiatus, you can fall back on another one, and that's a possibility. And just thank you, NXT, for just being so wonderful. Do you have any concluding remarks before we get to our next segment?
No, this was just an amazing show.
Oh my God, yes. Next segment, man. High spots and low shots, and really, I gotta say, my low shot, I'm gonna say it's Bayley. It's Bayley.
Yeah.
She is the babyface pursuing a comeuppance against a heel who jumped her on the pre-show. She's been having a tough time lately, and you think, oh, this will be when Bayley turns it around. Nope. The struggle continues, man. She loses by submission.
Out.
Yeah, which for a babyface, that's a huge deal, because you're supposed to be about that resolve and that never give up attitude. And Becky,
no, that's if you're John Cena.
That is if you're John Cena, but it seems to be intended to be strong to a point, I guess.
Right, yeah.
And Bayley found her breaking point, apparently. Becky Lynch applied the pressure, and it was just enough, so Bayley is in.
And you know what I do like, though, is even though I was kind of crapping on Bayley earlier and saying she looked really weak, they went into this match with Bayley having an injury. So they could use that as an excuse to be like, well, she wasn't at 100%, so of course.
Right, absolutely. So,
NXT really does cover all their bases, don't they?
They do.
They're so good.
Yeah. I have that expectation for them to continue to, and that I think says a lot about me as a consumer, because I don't have that expectation often with a wrestling product. So good on you, NXT. But more importantly,
my low shot is Enzo Amore, because he tried so hard and he couldn't even get Carmella to pay attention to him, and he ticked Cass off, and then he lost.
Yeah, he did. Hopefully, again, it doesn't lead to where we think it's all going to lead, but for the time being, he most certainly is worthy of your low shot award. And I haven't struggled with a high spot this much in a long time, but you know what? I'm going to be different, and I'm going to give it to Becky Lynch. And you know what? Yes, she has things she needs to work on without question, but she had a great promo tonight, and she got a win in a great way over Bayley.
Yep.
So you know what? Becky Lynch, I think for that, should be commended. So good on you, Becky. I think this may be the first time I've given you my high spot. So
I gotta say, I'm surprised you didn't go with the Vaudevillains.
You know what, dude? I wanted to, but the proof is in the pudding. If they want to get it, they gotta beat the Lucha Dragons and take those straps. Because if that would happen, you best believe they'd be my high spot. So,
all right, well, my high spot, I'm gonna go the easy route, Kevin Owens.
Absolutely, one of us had to. One of us had to. And I'm
yeah,
glad
I mean, dude, he had an amazing opening segment. He is the top heel in the company by far right now, which is, I mean, just think about that.
Yeah.
Kevin Owens been around for a week, had 2 matches, and he is already the top heel in the company. And I think he had that status before he even had this second match. Like, he came in this night as the top heel in the company.
Yeah, he really did.
And he cut an amazing promo, and then later on in the night he had an amazing match, and he dominated the guy that just came off of a almost year-long title reign where he went undefeated. Dude, you gotta realize, Adrian Neville had not been pinned or submitted up until NXT TakeOver Our Evolution. And that was Sami Zayn that did it. And then, tonight, he could not beat Kevin Owens. And frankly, if the match would have continued, it was looking like Owens was gonna get the win.
Yeah, it was, because honestly, the way I pictured it was he would have gotten Owens back in the ring. He probably would have attempted the Red Arrow. Kevin Owens would have found some counter, and he would have put Neville down. I mean, it was just Owens' match to win. He was definitively the better competitor. He was decisively the better competitor, and he sure as hell decisively deserves your high spot, so I'm very happy about that. And with that said, do you have any concluding remarks you want to make, or should I take us home?
Take us home, baby.
All right, guys, this has been NXT. This has been TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John. That's my cohort and commentary, Ashton. Be sure to comment and subscribe on YouTube. Leave us that feedback. What did you think of NXT this week? Are you loving Kevin Owens as much as we are? Should I get professional help for my love of the Vaudevillains? Answer those questions, people. And, of course, discuss on Tweetov, an amazing wrestling group. And we will see you again for our Monday Night Raw review, which after watching this show, I'm not even going to bother to feign enthusiasm. We'll see what happens on the road to the Royal Rumble. See you there, guys.